Hotep, Introduction to Kemet, the missing link in Black history. I am Shakandugu Kemet. My goal is for you to learn and understand some information that you probably never came across before. For this reason, the beginning is going to be somehow meticulous because it's necessary. We are dealing with thousands of years of knowledge. Afterwards, you should be able to debate any scholar or archaeologist or whatever title they hold. Why? Because we're going to deal with primary sources, originals. There's going to be name, dates, and places. So let's get right into it. Africa, Afuraka. I'm not going to waste time about the Middle East claim because it doesn't make sense, as you can see. I'm going to break down the word Kemet for you. That's the hieroglyph, the Meduneta. Now the first symbol, that's for Kem. It's a piece of charcoal, of course crocodile skin, because that's what it's described as most of the time. Then you have the loaf of bread, that's the sign for T. Then the bird is actually an O, and that's for M. That sign there is the town, village, settlement, Egypt, Thebe. The numbers in bracket are the Gardner list number, and it can be useful, even though our ancestors obviously didn't use that. In the bottom you can see how to write Kemtu or Kamtu. Some of you might say, fine, okay, but where can we see Kemet? No problem. This is the second Kamose Stela, number J43, at Luxor Museum in Kemet, Egypt. We are going to see where it's showing, that's line 23. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Here it is, in the middle of your screen. There's a slight close-up with the Meduneta transcript underneath. There's other places you can see it, even though it's not that clear. Line 18. There it is. And finally, line 21. It's actually showing twice on line 18, but the other one is not really clear at all. Next, how old is Kemet? Thousands of years old. The first dynasty starts around 3100 BCE. BCE stands for Before Common Era. Menes or Narmer or Mena is the king of the first dynasty. We're not even talking about pre-dynastic period. Some of you might wonder, really? Show and prove. No problem. Here is the royal list of Abydos located in Kemet. It gives in chronological order 76 kings from Menes, that's Narmer, to Seti I. Then you have the ancestors Sheper of King Jehutimes, commonly known as Thutmose III. It's from the Temple of Ammon in Karnak, number E13481 bis in the Louvre Museum in France. There's 61 names there, from Menes to Jehutimes III. You have the Palermo stone around 2500 BCE, and that's located in Italy. The Narmer's head, UC 15989 in Petrie Museum, London, and the famous Narmer palette, CG 14716 in Cairo Museum. This is 5,000 years old. Why is it called Egypt today? It comes from Het Kapta, the house of the Ka of Ptah, which gives Aegyptos in Greek, Aegyptus in Latin, and finally Egypt in English. Het Kapta is Memphis, and that's what the US town is named after. I am going to show you where our ancestors wrote Het Kapta about 3,000 years ago, but first I want you to get some understanding about the source that I will use. Pert M. Heru, commonly known as the Book of the Dead. It's a papyrus that's 3,000 years old, kept at the British Museum, number 10470. It's a compilation of spells and things to get you through the afterlife. It has to do with spirituality. Every time we quote the book, that's the edition that I'm on. You need to understand that there's all the versions, right? People will have that when they die, it'll be there with them in a coffin. And you have different ones, and I can give you examples. Here's the Pert M. Heru of Hunefer, around 1300 BCE. Number EA9901, located at the British Museum. This one is the Pert M. Heru of Nat. Same date, EA10471, 13 British Museum again. Pert Emheru of Nebseni, around 1400 BCE, number EA 9900-32, same location in London. Pert Emheru of the scribe Nebked, number N3068, that one is in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. Those texts are derived from other ones called the coffin text, and here's an example right there. Coffin text of Goa around 1800 BCE from Deir el Bersha in Kemet, number EA 30840 in the British Museum. That's well over 3,000 years old. And this is also, the coffin texts are derived from other texts which are the pyramid text. And there you can see the pyramid text of Unas around 2300 BCE. That's well over 4,000 years old. And then the pyramid text of Teti I in Saqqara, Kemet. Okay. Now, why is it called the Book of the Dead? Because it was found in coffin generally, like the one for Ani, for the scribe Ani. And we can check out the real name. It's actually in the book. So let's have a look. Page 28. The common name for the Book of the Dead, Pert Emheru, which words have been variously translated, manifested in the light, coming forth from the day. Page 355, it tells you that it's on plate 5. Okay, and here's a breakdown of plate 5. Pert Emheru. Now, why do we talk about plates? The papyrus of Ani was found, and it was 20 meters long. I believe that's around 78 foot long. So, Wallis Budge, who bought it, cut it into 37 pieces. That's why we are talking about plates, and there we're dealing with plate 5, and I'm showing you where Pert Emheru is written. Let's have a look now. We're going to zoom in. There it is. That's right there. So I'm just going to cut that and then show you the Meduneta transcript, and it's just right there, Pert Emheru. You will notice that the hieroglyph is slightly different. It's because it's cursive hieroglyph. Remember, I told you I would show you Het Kapta. Let's go. Page 438. Check out the Meduneta for Het Kapta. Underneath we have the translation. That's line 7. There it is. Now, on the previous page it tells us that it's on plate 15. So let's bring it up. There it is. And we're going to zoom in. That's the one there. It's not that clear, so we look at another page. That's 490. Here's the Meduneta once again. It tells us that it's on plate 19. So that's plate 19 right there. We're going to zoom in. And there we go. It looks slightly better. Here's a close-up. And you can see that it's made up of sign Q3X1, V28, D28, and O49. Now you definitely know the origin of the word Egypt. Now we're going to move on to something else. Let's deal with the word Pharaoh. It doesn't mean king, it means house. On the left you have Sultan, the original name that our ancestors used to describe a king. And on the right you have the Pharaoh symbols, the hieroglyphic signs. So it's all broken down to you, as well as Sultan, with the Gardiner list numbers if you want to take it further. Now on page 459, that's plate 16, you can see the word Sultan, and you have the translation. We're looking at line 6 right there. I am crowned upon my throne like the king of the gods. Now you do have the sign there, and also the 3 hatchets. They're not flag, they're actually hatchets. That's a symbol for Neteru. If you have one, then that's Neter. Okay, it's clear there in the middle. Another one that might be of interest to you, that's page 352, plate 2. We're looking at line 8. Homage to thee, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That probably reminds you of something. Yes, Revelations 19:16. You have King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Also Revelations 17:14, Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Let's move on. in this edition of the Pert Emheru from the same author, we can see how to pronounce the word for praise and adoration, which is toi, there on page 8, and then underneath you have it again, toi, adoration. Now you can see that in the edition that we're dealing with on several pages. First you have page 339, there, line 1, hymn of praise to Ra. You also have it on page 342, there again, praise to Ra, page 347, and also on page 487, on page 496, and finally on page 511. So praise, adoration, toi, praise of Ra, toi, Ra. Doesn't that sound like something you heard before? Think harder. There it is. Now it might just be a coincidence, who knows, but I just wanted to show you that. Let's move on.